All right, we're on another job site today. This is going to be 3 bathrooms we're doing inside of, I guess it's going to be a college here. So I'm inside the one bathroom. Of course, the contractor's not ready for us. They're supposed to have the doors off. They don't have the doors off. So we're kind of waiting for them to catch up with that. But I just want to show you what we're doing on the floor here. All right, so here is the one men's room. This is about 250 square foot. They already had this cove up on the wall, and we're gonna put an epoxy cove in here. So this is definitely a non-traditional cove that we're gonna be putting in here. So we're gonna hand apply a cove in each of these urinals here, and then we're gonna just run a cove a little bit up this wall, which again is non-traditional, but we gotta do what we gotta do to make it all match and fit here. So this is the area we're doing. We have to repair all these joints in the floor. There's joints all over the place. There's a problem joint right here that runs up. So we're gonna put a polyester strip over that. And we have two separate toilet rooms here. And that's it. So I'm gonna be videoing as the day goes on here so you can see what we're doing. All right, so now I'm in what's going to be the women's room here. So let me flip this around. I'll show you what we have going on in here. Okay, so again, they have a 6-inch cove up, which we're going to overlap with our epoxy. We're going to come all the way up to the top of that wooden cove, which again is not the normal type of cove we would do, but they already have this in place, and that's what they want, and that's what they're going to get. So then we have 2 little toilet areas here, and then I guess this is going to be the handicap accessible one. It's larger. And we have some joints in the floor. I know it's hard to see. It's actually very hard to see with all this dust. But some joints, we're gonna fill these joints. This one here, this is gonna be a problem joint. We're gonna throw a polyester strip on that. We have a drain in the floor there to go around. And that's it. So we're gonna diamond grind everything first, and then we'll go from there. Okay, it feels like I'm in a closet here. I guess it kind of looks that way, but this is a unisex bathroom. I don't know, it's maybe 7 by 8 foot, something like that. I'm gonna flip this around. I'll show you what we're gonna do here. All right, so now they were supposed to have that wooden trim up that they had in the other bathrooms, and they don't have it up. So I use what is called cove strips. And I'm gonna try to show you detail what the cove strip looks like. But there's a peel off back to this. So what you do is you take this cove strip and you stick it to the wall wherever you want your cove to terminate. And then you run the epoxy. I can't do this with one hand, but you run the epoxy up the wall, up to that plastic cove strip, and you just let the cove strip behind it. So I'll show you how we do that in a little bit. All right, so here we are grinding the floor. I know it's loud in the background here. This is our 32-inch grinder. Setup here. Here's our vacuum system and our cord. We have about 100-foot run out of the building here. And then there's our generator sitting right there. So now we're done grinding this room, at least with the large grinder, so I'll show you what we have here with that. So there's a film of dust, which we're going to vacuum up, obviously, but I have to do the edges. I have to do these little rooms where we didn't fit with the big grinder, and just do all this edging around here. So I'm going to set this up on time lapse so you can see me do that. And we'll go from there. Quick video of trying to grind in a confined space. When we're asked if we can come in and like grind in a small bathroom or something, it's virtually impossible to keep from this thing around. Okay, so we have everything ground. We just vacuumed everything. I'm just going to show you what it looks like after it's prepped. We have to do all the patchwork, then the cove, and grind and vacuum again just to get all those little boogers off the floor. So I'll flip this around for you. All right, so we're ground, so we have to fill these joints. There's lots of cracks in these floors. There's some spalls. I don't know if you can see that. Spalls, there's cracks there. And we have to put the cove all the way around this. So we have all these edges to do, which is going to be quite a chore. And this room here is the unisex bathroom. This we're going to be doing an integrated cove, 4 inches high, which I'll show you how to do the cove base. But we're going to have lunch quick. Okay, so now we're in a bathroom. It's approximately 7 foot by 8 foot, something to that effect. They want a 4-inch integrated cove base around the perimeter. So we're going to use the CFS-1 Cove Base Epoxy Mortar. And in this kit, it's a special gradation of sand. It's fine and coarser sand, along with the epoxies that you need to mix it. So it's all included. But before we can mix it, we have to put the termination strip on the wall. They want a 4-inch high cove, which is going to come up to 4 inches. Well, in order to terminate it nicely, we use these plastic cove strips. And this strip, I know it's very hard to see on camera, but it's the shape of an L there. And it's a self-stick strip. So you peel the back off sometimes. You peel the back off and it sticks to the wall. So I'm going to show you how to apply these strips to the wall quickly and easily. And these are great to get, by the way. You don't have to use these. You can put tape up and then push the mortar up to the tape, but this will give you a good defined edge. So here we go. What I'm going to do is peel the strip back a little bit, and the 90-degree angle is at the top, okay, because that's where you want it to terminate. So you see I peeled back about 1 foot or so. I'm going to set this right on top of my trowel. I'm going to tuck it right in the corner. And that's where we start. Now it's at the correct elevation right off the bat. So what I'm going to do is set this up here. Use this as a guide. that's it. So we're just going to do that around the whole perimeter, and then I'll show you what we do after we get that cove strip set. Okay, so I have this last strip I'm just going to show you again. We peel the blue, we set this right on the top edge, and just put it right up against the wall. It's already at the right elevation this way if you have it on here. And what you can do is slide it down actually behind where it's the blue tape is, or behind where the backing is pulled, and then you can just kind of do this thing and slide it down. Keeps everything right at the exact correct height, and work your way down like that. It's setting right on it. Peel it, it's taped right in place. See that wandered on me? Okay. And that's it. So that'll give us a nice joint when we do the mortar. We have almost everything up. I have 1 2-inch little piece to put behind me here. Now we're going to get started with the cove. Okay, so here we are. We have the cove strips up, which we showed how to install those. This is the CFS-1, the Cove base epoxy mortar. Again, this is an all-inclusive kit. This is the 18-pound kit. It gets, I'm going to say, about 20 feet of cove, depending on how thick it is. When you're doing cove, if you have a big gap in the wall like that, that's obviously going to suck up a little more material. So it varies, obviously. So when you open this up, you have your epoxy in here. There's your part A and your B, and this is that sand I was talking about. I know it's very hard to see, but there's different gradations of sand in here. So it's a really nice blend of sand. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I have an identical bucket. I'm just going to pour my sand in another bucket for now, just so I can mix the epoxy in here. So it's a simple mix, 2-to-1 mix.
Primero ni se hiciera bacano, tienes que ir haciendo con esto primero esto. La primera aquí y ya toca abrir de su lado.
Alright. Set these over here. Alright, so the first thing you always want to do is mix your epoxy first. So I have this on slow speed. So like any epoxy, you want to make sure you mix this well. If you don't, it's not going to set, and you certainly don't want to do with that. Get those edges good. And once you get that mixed, you're literally just going to pour this whole thing right in there. Now this bucket might spin on you, so you just want to get your feet on either side. That's your mix. So now, so I have my 4-inch cove tool here. Now, what you do is you just push in and work this back and forth, just like that. See how you get that nice cove there? And of course, sometimes you have to mess around in corners a little bit more to get some detail stuff in there. So that's what you do. Just margin trowel. Throw this on the floor a little bit. So now don't be alarmed about little boogers at the top here, because well, in this particular case, we're putting down a flake floor, but the next day you come back and you can just scrape all that right off. Right now you can't do it just because it's still wet. So you just have to play with this a little bit. Okay folks, we're back. This is actually day 3. I didn't video it all yesterday. It's just too chaotic. These areas are too small to set a camera up. You're tripping over it the whole time. Just simply couldn't get it done. So I'm gonna flip this around. I'll show you what we have and what we're gonna do today. Okay, so here's the, well, this is actually going to be the ladies' room here, but we went 6 inches up these walls. They had wooden cove base in place, so we coated over and did a quarter round at the bottom. Which is kind of hard to see, but so we're going to put down another base coat today, and we're going to throw the flakes on this. And any little defects you see, color variations, that's all just the primer that will all be concealed on this next coat. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to try to film whatever I can, but it's very difficult to film this. Okay, good morning folks. This is day 4. We're just coming in here. We flaked the floor yesterday, so I'm going to show you what the floor looks like. We have to clean up the excess flake, dress up the edges, and do a clear coat. So I'm going to flip this around and show you what we have. Okay, so you can see our edges now. The cove, we went up the cove with the flake. So those are our edges. And there's the drain. We have to clean all this stuff up. So we're gonna come in here, we're gonna vacuum, detail all the edges here good, and then we're going to put a clear coat on today. So this is the women's room. I'll take you into the men's room over here. Here's the men's room. Looks pretty good. The 2 stalls and the handicap area in the back. There's a drain here. We're going to detail around that. And then last but not least, we're going to go to this unisex bathroom around the side here. And this is the last one. Now this is the one we did the hand applied cove 4 inches up. So you can see that cove termination strip. And I always recommend after you install this to maybe put a bead of caulking on top of the strip here, right here, and then have the painters paint down to it to get a nice edge. But I mean, that is a pretty crisp edge there. Anyway, we have a drain in the middle of this we're going to dress up. So we're going to clean it up and then I'll video right before we clear coat. What I did want to show is some detail work here, which is so important when you're doing these floors. You want to try to pay attention to detail. So this drain, we taped over it and we go around it. Now when you clean this thing up, hopefully you have a nice looking drain when you're done here. Because this really sets these floors off when you have a nice detailed drain in the middle of the floor. You just tape around it with the blue tape first. Now I will say you don't want to tape your edges. If you tape the edges, the epoxy will glue the tape in place and you have a real hard time dealing with it. This, fortunately, we just did this yesterday, so the epoxy's not that hard yet and it won't pull the paper off the face of drywall if you tape up against drywall. So this is like a totally different thing. See how clean you get these edges. And when we vacuum the flake off of that, you have a nice clean drain. Okay, now we're prepped and ready. Jeff is vacuuming the other bathroom while I'm recording this, but I'm using a, actually it's got a 14-inch squeegee today. I don't have enough room. Normally I run a 24-inch squeegee, but you just can't get into these little rooms with a big squeegee. You just can't do it. So I have my smaller squeegee, which gives me the ability to get into those tight areas. We have a 6-inch 3/8 nap roller and an 18-inch roller, 1/4-inch nap. That's an epoxy glide roller. And we're going to get started here soon. So this is what it looks like before we do the clear coat. This is our mixing station setup outside. We're using the 137 MUV. I'm using 1.5 gallon kits because if you mix up 3 gallons, you're just not going to be able to get rid of it in time. There's too much detail work. Here's Jeff vacuuming up the edges. Looks like it's all done and ready in the other bathroom here. Okay, so now we have the clear coat down. That's the 137 MUV. We squeegeed it around and back rolled it. You can see the gloss on the perimeters there. Floor turned out really nice. Real shiny surface, easy to clean. I'll show you the other bathroom in a second here. Here's the other bathroom. You can see the cove. Again, you have real good gloss in here. I can't walk out there. I'm just reaching in so you can see the gloss on the floor and see how it looks overall. But big difference from what we started with. There's the small room. With the 4-inch cove. And of course, no matter how much caution tape you have, some idiot has to reach in, touch the epoxy, and then wipe their fingers on the floor. So here's the before, and then here is the after. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one.